Everybody, welcome back to American History with Mr. Finn. Today we are looking at what is happening with this Great Depression, getting done with the Roaring Twenties. We've looked at how everything the stock market crashed and how it had that ripple effect on everyone losing jobs and the economy was going down. It was starting to be a global depression where the economies were terrible, which is going to lead us to a new president, new ideas about the economy, new ideas about politics. But let's take a quick look at FDR. FDR stands for, if you don't know, Franklin Delano, which is Delano, Roosevelt. I'm going to double check that spelling. Just like we were in class. It might be an A. Aha! I knew it was. As soon as I wrote it, I thought to myself, you know what? I think that's an A. Delano. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Right there, see? Got to make those corrections. That's why you double check. Anyway, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He is going to be elected President of the United States. He is going to have new ideas for the 1930s. He is going to help the Great Depression end. His idea is actually has a term of its own. He is known for his New Deal. The New Deal, if I'm going to give you a definition, is not just his plan to get us out of the Depression, but it's really a new ideas to try and get us out of the Depression. So the New Deal is going to have things in it. So it's going to be, let's put it this way, changes to help Americans. So the everyday Americans are suffering. What can he do to try and help them out? He has ideas. One of his big things that he's really known for is going to be his works program. So what he's going to do, and I'll just explain the works program aspect of the New Deal, because that's really the big one. I mean, there's a lot of big things, but that's the one that's most famous, he's most known for, is his works programs. Really, it's plural. What that is taking government money and basically funding jobs. I'll just say this, and building, and really stuff. Our favorite word in history class, stuff. Taking the government's money and using it to build things, like one of the most famous things of the work program, as part of this New Deal, is the Hoover Dam, which is not too far from us. So the idea is the government will, pay to build this huge dam, and it will then have people who want to come and work on that project, and they will get a wage, they'll get paid to work, and then the idea is once they have money, they can then spend it on things, and that can stimulate the economy and get us out of this Great Depression. The New Deal itself, while great in theory that we're trying to help people and trying to get these changes in the way we think and the way we use money and how the economy works, is great in theory, and it does help some people out. But here's the thing about the New Deal that we have to understand in this time period of the 1930s. The New Deal, it does not end the Depression. It does not end it. It does not solve all the problems. Think of it as a stopgap. Like, things are really bad. We have the New Deal. The president is trying. The government is trying. And it's helping a little bit. But the Great Depression is not stopped by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in his ideas. It's going to actually be stopped in another way, which is a much less exciting way to end a Great Depression. So this federal works program, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, they're trying to end this Great Depression. He is going to be what we consider, FDR is going to be, let's just call it pro-left. in government class, you learn about liberals, conservatives, you learn about the political left, the political right. He is going to be left-leaning, and that is the belief that the government can do things to help everyday Americans. And so this idea is, for Franklin Delano Roosevelt, pro-left really is an idea or a call for big, B-I-G, government. What do I mean by big government? What I mean is he and the left-leaning politicians believe in a big government that takes on responsibility, tries to do a bunch of different things, is trying to solve issues for Americans, use money and put new programs in, like the Federal Works Program, to try to help Americans. And this is going to be the opposite of the right, which is believing that, hey, this is just spending a lot of money that's not really helping. There's really not a right, wrong answer in how you want to look at it. I would never say anybody's political thought is just because it might be different than whatever I think. It's not, you should never, you can disagree with people, but there's no right or wrong. And so the important thing to understand is his ideas are pro-left, left-leaning, large government, spending, trying to help everyday Americans. And that is where we're at in the 1930s. Because we're running all the way to the 1940s, I do want to take a quick look before I tell you what you're doing today, just in case I miss something. I don't want to have to come back. So, I think FDR is a big thing. The Federal Works Program's the big thing. Yep, that is it. Okay, I hit all the things I need to hit today to get us to where we have to get. To give you a preview so that we can quickly get going the next time we come around is we have this in the 1930s. FDR is taking the presidency. He's trying his New Deal, trying to help Americans. But something is happening. This is a U.S., meaning the United States of America strategy to get out of the Great Depression. But something that is important to understand, in a Great Depression, understand this. First and foremost, people suffer. Just leave it at that. People suffer when we have an economic downturn. When we have a Great Depression and the whole of an economy is suffering, people suffer. This causes instability. So why? Instability. One of the government's biggest jobs is to maintain stability. Things are okay. Things are stable. Everything's calm. That's good. Because when instability happens and things are not stable, you start to see these people who are suffering possibly rise up, possibly have a revolution. Maybe the government suffers because of this. So when instability happens, you run the risk as a country to have a government, what we would call a government overthrow, meaning that government, cross that out, government goes bye-bye and a new group comes in and takes over the country because this new group has promised the people, you'll stop suffering. We can solve all your problems. So in the United States of America, we have FDR, we have the New Deal, we have big government, we have the ideas of left-leaning politics. That's not the way it goes across the rest of the world. In the rest of the world, you will start to see instability. The people are suffering, new groups come in and say, hey guys, we'll help you out. We'll make things better. Just support us. We'll get rid of the government that is right now because they are terrible. What is the government that is in charge right now doing? Making you suffer. So follow me and things will be better for you. And that is the idea that we are going to start to see happening in the 1930s at the same time that here in the United States we are doing the works programs and things like that. So that is a preview, which is going to lead us to jump into exactly what I'm talking about, which is in Germany and in other places around the world, Italy namely in also Japan. Those are going to be 3 very important countries for us coming up. But today, I want you to give me a timeline. On this timeline, I want 7 dates from the 1930s. 7 dates from the 1930s. It can be about anything because it's history class. So if you find something that we have not talked about, that's fine too, because then you're seeing something new. 7 dates from the 1930s. And again, on a timeline, in case you do not remember or you have not done one to this point, I obviously need the date. I need the date. I need a brief description of what happened on that date, what's the importance of that date, and I need a picture/drawing with color. That's the goal. That is the goal for your assignment, to find 7 dates from the 1930s. It could be anything. Tell me what the date is, why it is important, and then give me a picture or an illustration of what that event is. That picture can be terrible. Trust me, I am the worst drawer, painter, artist at all. I would not even use artist with my with my name. But this timeline, 7 dates, should be turned in today. Chronological order, that means that if you have a date, sometimes this does happen, so I'm going to explain it very quickly. Let's say I have a date 1932, right? If I find another date and it's 1931 on my timeline, we are going this way towards the year 2021, which means if my new date is 1931, it comes before 1932. If I have another date that's 1937, that would be over here, 1937. And then I found a date that was 1935. That would be in between those areas, 1935. So that is chronological order. That's what that means on the timeline. Make sure they are in order. And that's it. Get it to me today for attendance and participation purposes. In next class, we will be jumping into the instability of what's going on in different countries. Namely, Germany is probably the most important one, and Italy, because they're going to start this off. But again, I will see you next class, and we'll get to that.